tell you this. I think Ron Paul has shown some real leadership on this issue. He's made an important point clear that we've got to protect our national sovereignty and that we cannot rely on the fact that America is going to be the big dog in the world forever. And so as we sign on to programs with the UN, we can't just rely on the fact that future generations are going to be able to veto those kinds of programs. I really would, though, echo what Bruce, I thought he was going a different direction at the beginning of his conversation there, because I would tell you this. I can't support us withdrawing from the UN because of the signal that that would send to the world. And so while I will go to Congress and I will fight for our national sovereignty and I will fight to make sure that we are not delegating our legislative authority to the UN, I would not support withdrawal from the UN. Thank you.
It's not just legislative authority I'm worried about, though. I am worried about our troops serving under foreign commanders in foreign lands. I'm worried about our boys and women putting their lives in danger, being ordered around by somebody who doesn't understand our culture, our values, and maybe not even our language. I'm worried about the UN using our money, our government's money, millions and millions and maybe billions of it, to enact population control programs around the world that violate my belief in the right to life, whether you're an American or Chinese or on Manhattan Island last time I checked. I would move it to its own island, quite frankly. I don't know who would have to host it, but I think the UN is okay as a forum for discussion. I would always rather have people point fingers at each other than missiles. But that's the end. It should be discussion and voluntary. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the UN does play a critical role in some respects, and certainly is it perfect? No, but it is the place where countries can send their ambassadors and their leaders to discuss disputes and to try to come to consensus and to settle disputes peacefully. The United Nations does a tremendous amount of humanitarian work all around the world. As I believe Luke had mentioned, or John had mentioned about HIV, a third of the world's population does not have access to clean water. The United Nations does some very good work. Do I want us to give up our sovereignty to the United Nations? Of course not. Do I think that the system is imperfect? Of course I do. But I think that they're an easy target, and I certainly support our efforts in the United Nations.
I have to agree there. I think the United Nations is a place that America has to have a seat at the table. We have to be there as an influence, and it does do good work. Maybe not all the time, but it does do good work. So if we're not at the table, we're not going to have a voice at the table. So we need to be present, and does the United Nations have to be changed? Yeah, maybe there's some things that we should change on it. But if I had to look at everything that we have to work on right now, that is not the highest priority as far as I'm concerned. And I can tell you, as far as military is concerned, our military is going to ensure that we are commanded by U.S. commanders, not foreign nationals. So that's not going to happen. That's one thing we'll stand up for, and that won't happen. So I would say, yes, the United Nations has its place, and we need to be a member at the table.
The United Nations needs to go yesterday. Members that don't like us. We are the humanitarian country in the world, with or without them. We don't need them. We are the shining hill in the city. We don't need them telling us what to do, when we're going to do it. This is the United States of America. We became the power that we are because we are compassionate, because we had a Christian belief and a Christian God, and we were blessed. And we continue to show with our humanitarian efforts. We give them untold dollars. It's an outrage that we continue to give money. They're going to cap and trade us. It's going to go to the government in Europe. It's going to destroy our economy even more. The World Health Organization, all it did was ramp up a real non-existent viral that was going to kill us all.
Thank you.
We just get inoculated.
for our final question for this panel. Illegal immigration appears to be one of the next major issues to be addressed by our federal government. What do you propose is the best solution to this problem?
It's a good question. I wish we had time for a lot of other ones. There needs to be 3 pillars to reform. One, we got to get it done and quit having this spineless kick the can down the road approach. The 2 pillars that I would back are very simple. Get a handle on the border once and for all and quit screwing around talking about it. And number 2, in totally the opposite end of the spectrum, make the front door open to God-loving people who want to come here and make a life for their kids just like our ancestors. But make sure that that front door works well so that if folks come here and they want to present themselves and pay them taxes and work hard and carry around an ID card and know that the minute they screw up, they're going home. That's it.
The plan I would support is a plan very similar to what Mike Pence has put forward. No nation can stay sovereign without control of its borders. So it all starts with controlling our borders. I believe that we cannot have amnesty in this country. They tried it in the 80s, and it taught people to hang around and hope that we'll have amnesty again. I think the folks that are here, we're going to have to figure out a way to send them home. In today's technology, you could process folks back, and if they can prove that they have a job to come to and that they behaved themselves while they were here, we can bring them back. But you've got to control our borders, and I think talking about this issue with integrity means the people who are here illegally have to go before they could come back. Thank you.
We are blessed with very long borders at our north and our south. At the same time, we are cursed with very long borders at our north and our south. Very expensive to patrol, almost impossible to control completely, but we have to do our best. Whatever we can do humanly possible to control our borders, we have to do. We also have to do what we do constitutionally. You and I are here tonight because we believe in the Constitution, number 1, maybe only second to the Bible. And so what we do has to be within the Constitution. And some of our well-meaning proposals across the nation have failed because of being unconstitutional. What we need to do is work within the Constitution to make sure that people who are here legally can be here, people who are not here legally have to go. 40%, by the way, 40% of our illegal immigrants came here legally on work and education visas. They overstayed their visas because they liked it here, just like we all do, okay? The system has to work better, but we have to do it within the Constitution.
Thank you.
Well, I'm the son of immigrants. My parents grew up in some of the poorest parts of the world. My father grew up in an incredibly poor country and served the citizens of that country through medical clinic. And they came to this country in the 1960s, the same reason why immigrants from all over the world come to the United States, and it's to search out the American dream. It's because of the freedom and the liberty and the justice that's found here in this country. For those of you who've traveled abroad, you know how America is viewed abroad. It's still viewed as the land of opportunity. I think we have to secure our borders. I also think that we have to look at the businesses that are hiring illegal immigrants. Why are they hiring illegal immigrants? Clearly are in need of immigration reform, but I also think that we need to do this with a little less heat and a lot of compassion.